Hey everyone, welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast. This week brought to you by I'm Gus.
I'm Gavin.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Barbara.
And I'm Gus. It's been a busy day for everyone, I think.
Yes,
We're
so
pre-taping.
should we...
I guess we should preface first. We should let everyone know. This is a pre-tape. It's a holiday on Monday, the 25th, I think, here in the United States. So we're
what's
pre-taping
the
this on
point?
Thursday.
The
The
days
point of
don't mean
holidays?
anything.
Well, it's still on the calendar.
So, I mean, what are you going to be doing on Monday? I'll tell you what I'm doing.
I can tell you what I'm
right
not
here.
doing. A podcast.
But you'll be right there. We could have done it then.
No, instead of sitting here, I'll be sitting there, like right, just off camera on that side.
Days don't mean anything. Holidays don't mean anything.
They absolutely do, especially for people who are literally in meetings and recordings all day, every day. To not have those on one day of the week would be fantastic.
Plus,
It's called Saturday and Sunday.
It means nothing to us, but there are still plenty of people who do have to go into work.
Exactly.
It makes sense for the people who are actually going to the office. We're all not, though. That's why I'm confused as to why we're observing holidays.
I read an interesting, kind of scary article this morning on the New York Times. It said as people go back to work, like you go back to your building that, office buildings have been empty for a couple of months, that because the buildings have sat unused and like plumbing has been unused for several months, that they're not designed for that. So there's a risk of buildings not working right or people catching Legionnaire's disease when you go back to a building.
What is Legionnaire's disease?
It's like a bacterial infection that's highly contagious.
What, it like comes from the toilet up your butt?
It could come through from stagnant water.
Because the toilets are sitting full of stagnant water right now all across America. So so you come back from work and you get with your COVID, and then you get Legionnaire's disease.
Right.
And then
So
because none of us have been eating healthy, everybody also gets rickets.
Oh my god. So basically, we should assign one person to go flush all the toilets at Rooster Teeth, like once or twice a month.
Can you imagine if your company occupied an entire skyscraper and you just had to go from each floor, flushing all the bogs to the whole building?
Legionnaire's disease is a form of atypical pneumonia caused by a type of bacteria. The signs and symptoms include cough, shortness of breath, fever, muscle pains, headaches. The bacteria.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, good. So we won't get it confused at all.
The bacteria is found naturally in fresh water. It can contaminate hot water tanks, hot tubs, cooling towers of air conditioners, and it's spread by breathing in the mist that contains the bacteria.
Oh,
and public bathrooms don't have the lid on the toilet, so you can't keep that they just spray poop flakes everywhere.
Oh god.
And all that plumbing is designed to have water run in it. If you have like a drain that's sat dry for a long time, that's not good. Like the gaskets dry out and could be bad.
Honestly, the worst thing for any building is for it to not be used. Nature just reclaims it eventually. If it's not constantly being agitated and stuff. I've had that with a house that I didn't live in for a bit when I had two because I was filming at one. All the toilets dried up and went minging. Mm-hmm. All of the cabinets got stuck shut. So when I pulled them open, it ripped all the paint off. Same with some of the doors. It's if you're not using a place, you need to spend money on it to fix it. It's crazy.
That's insane. I guess that's how places deteriorate so quickly and abandoned areas and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
so
God.
that was a great start to my morning to load up the New York Times and be like, oh, I didn't even consider that.
So you either stay home and avoid the virus, or go to work and potentially get the virus and this other disease from your minging toilet water.
I should. I'll forward that article to our facilities team and go to and make sure everything's okay.
Why is it called Legionnaire's disease?
The first time it was identified.
What's a Legionnaire?
It sounds like an airline.
Yeah, it sounds like a pilot. Just something you get a lot. Yeah.
It was like the American Legion I think had a big outbreak of it, and that's where it was discovered and then named. Let me find out. Name. The disease is named after the outbreak where it was first identified at a 1976 American Legion convention in Philadelphia.
We are Legion.
Nice.
So there you go.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum. Whatever that song is.
So
I don't know what just happened.
Can't wait.
We all got sidetracked by the catchy farmers song.
But yeah, so we were talking about how we were pre-recording this. Today is Thursday. Gus and I, we just got off of
we were busy.
2 hours, 2 hour D&D stream, and Gus even before that was on a 1 hour gaming stream too. So Gus, you've been in content literally nonstop
all day. I had a 15-minute break where I was able to eat a sandwich, and then right before we started here, I had another 15-minute break where.
Wait, you guys were in a bunch of content all day and then went straight into a podcast?
Yeah, it's crazy. We also do that on Mondays too. Just
except the podcast is usually at 5, so you go for an additional 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll, at least I don't know. Maybe we should do. Does anybody have plans? Is anybody going to do anything on Monday to celebrate your day off?
Yes, because Monday is.
Go ahead, Drew. I'm going to sleep for as long as I fucking can. Like,
yeah,
until noon, 1 p.m.
Can you do that? I feel like there's always something going on that wakes me up. Like, just people being loud just out in the world.
Or your 4 cats now?
Well, the cats actually don't wake me up too much. It's usually like, someone's got a leaf blower going.
I'll be awake.
Got a circular grinder.
I'll be awake. I just won't get out of bed. Like, it'll just be like trips to go get more coffee, and then just thinking about how gross I feel in my bathrobe.
I have a thing where Benjamin does not let me sleep in anymore. Now, when it's about time, when I normally wake up, like around 7:30 in the morning, he just comes over next to the bed and starts making noise next to me to try to get me to get out of bed. I don't know why. It's not like we're going to go do anything. I take him out, and then he just comes to the living room and sleeps. It's like he just gets tired of sleeping in one room and wants to sleep in a different room. He's sleeping right now.
I know that your dog's name is Benjamin, but you phrased that story as though it could have been your roommate, and it made it so much better. I'm like, he just comes to my room and stares at me, and he just sleeps all the fucking time.
He just makes noises next to my bed.
He's a grown man. Just like, hey, take me outside.
Barbara, how much for you to get a dog and name it Trevor?
50 grand.
Oh.
I feel like we could scrape that together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if anyone's ever been paid 50 grand to get a dog. I have to supply it?
No, Barbara, you have to supply the dog.
That's fine. I could buy any dog I want with that money. I could buy a horse if I wanted to.
That's not a dog.
Just kidding. I would adopt anyway. So, but
nice.
For Monday, I realized sadly today that I was like, oh, nice 3-day weekend, but it's actually like 1.5 day weekend. So, even less weekend than I usually get because Sunday we're doing a convention. Me and the Ruby girls were doing an online convention that lasts from about 1 to 5 or 6 p.m. that day.
Online, right?
All online, yeah. So it's like a virtual panel and then virtual meet and greets and all that stuff. By the time this comes out, it'll have happened already. But that's like the entirety of my Sunday gone. And then we're also streaming on Saturday, doing some gaming stuff. So that's another
that hustle.
Yeah, so Monday is going to be my one actual full weekend day, which is I'm really happy that happens.
How do they wrap up a virtual meet and greet? Like, does each person get an allotted amount of time, and is there like a third person in the chat with you being like, "Let's go, like wrap it up"?
So thankfully, I only did it once so far, but yeah. So it's a 2-minute time limit. I always end up going over because it's impossible to have any worthwhile conversation with someone for 2 minutes.
Sure.
So we end up going along, but there is a moderator in the call with you who essentially like comes on and be like, all right, guys, start to wrap it up. Or I could also like type with them and say like, hey, like let this one extend a little bit more. But
yeah, 2 minutes is kind of, because you got to say hello and goodbye. That leaves you with maybe like 90 seconds of decent conversation. It's like speed dating everyone.
Yeah, it is so much more exhausting than you could ever anticipate. I did the one I did last time. It was still like amazing to get to meet people and have that experience, especially like not only during quarantine and the situation to allow that to happen, but there's plenty of people who don't go to conventions because of anxiety or disability or whatever it is that doesn't allow them to attend in person. So this allows those people to actually get that experience because of quarantine. So that's kind of cool. But it is. So we did 2 hours of the meet and greets last time, and it was all my energy was absolutely gone by the time it ended. So I was like, I hope I was still fun and entertaining to the people who.
Yeah, because you want to give like the same energy to everyone and not sort of trail off towards the end, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes like stuff like RTX so exhausting for us is like we want to be able to give full energy to every single person we meet and like every panel we're on. And so you kind of put any exhaustion to the side to just kind of go into this mode of meet and greet where you have unlimited energy and like are trying to like provide everyone the same amount. And so by the end of it, you're absolutely pooped.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about like if I have a particularly busy Monday, if we're in like 5 or 6 Let's Plays throughout the day, and then I have to sprint from the Let's Play to the podcast, and then we do the post show, and afterwards I just have like a hard crash. I'm just like, oh god, I just melt down and do nothing for the rest of the night.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing on Monday. I have a full 3-day weekend, so I'm gonna enjoy every day. Unlike
you gonna play Animal Crossing?
I'm probably gonna play a lot of Animal Crossing.
Drew, are you on that bandwagon yet? I know that the three of us are.
I'm not. I don't have a Switch. I don't have. Well, I clearly don't have the game because I don't have a Switch. But there's a raccoon in that game, though, right?
Yeah, there's a few.
They're tanukis, I believe.
We just had.
Is there a difference?
And in a Animal Crossing Jason story, we just had a baby raccoon move into my neighbor's yard. We watched him for like 45 minutes the other day, just hanging out.
Moved in? Like, did he bring suitcases and a box?
Yeah, little suitcases, a little like flipped up fedora hat, and he was like, we just got off the train. Sorry.
Is this the free land?
Yeah. But he was out during the day, so we thought he had rabies, and then we almost called animal control, and then we didn't. And then it rained really hard the other day here, like that big storm came through.
Yeah.
And my partner was like, oh, he's dead. Like, there's no way. And then, but just the other day, we saw him in like a very cute little woodland stump next to our house.
Was he sitting cross-legged?
Yes, he was sitting cross-legged, having a cup of tea. Just a little raccoon cup of tea, just enjoying his life. Allie named him Rigatoni.
Oh,
that's a good name.
It's a great raccoon name.
Yeah.
I threw a cup of dog food over the fence for him, so he'll hopefully have a good life.
When you say you threw a cup of dog food, are you talking like you took a cup in like a glass and like threw the food out of the glass, or like took a packaged thing?
So like Admiral has a big like trash can full of dog food, and she has a scoop. So we just got a scoop and then went out and went, yeah,
just littered the ground.
You didn't put
my neighbor's yard. It wasn't my yard. It was the
vandalism?
neighbor's yard.
If you chuck a bunch of animal food and like bird feed into someone else's yard and they just get bombarded by wildlife, is that a crime?
No, not if you know my neighbor. My neighbor has a surplus of just shit and ephemera in his yard. It's just like sculptures and statues and lawn gnomes, and like the whole yard is full, chock-a-block full. Yeah, his name. Yeah, he's a wild character. He's always at Eeyore's birthday, and he wears like a monk costume a lot of days.
Wow.
So a cup of dog food he will never notice and is fine.
Yeah, I've only had bad luck with raccoons, and like once again, in that empty house, a raccoon moved in, and
so technically it wasn't empty.
No, it was occupied briefly.
Sounds like you had a bad tenant.
Was he paying you rent?
Yeah, and I was trying to sell this place for ages, and one of the couples that were being shown around, the realtor opened the under the stairs cupboard, and there was a raccoon in there, and they for some reason didn't want to buy the house.
Well, obviously, they'd have a roommate.
Then after I moved, a bunch of possums ate my hammock. It's just like an interesting place to live in Austin. It's like it's not like England. England, you might get a fox. It's probably the worst thing that can walk into.
Yeah, we don't have a lot in Canada either. It's weird to have like so many bugs and wildlife in a city you're living in. I'm not used to that. I had to spray 3 wasp nests in the last week.
Wow.
That have started in and around my outside area of my house.
Are they murder hornets?
They don't look like them. They look like regular tiny little wasps.
Big, aren't they? They're
Oh yeah.
I want to see one of those nests. I bet it looks like a condo or something.
Nope. I think I would move if one of those started in my place. I'd be like,
I hate that. I'm always really nervous about that, Barbara. Whenever I'm outside, I'm always like looking up at my roof to see if there's any wasp nests up there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me if this is true or not. Gus, I feel like you would have this knowledge. Drew, I feel like you would have it too. You guys both have like dad energy.
Go on.
So I was told that wasps are very territorial. So if there's another wasp's nest in the vicinity, they won't build another one near there, or they won't fly around a different wasp's nest because they're very territorial. So what some people do is buy essentially fake wasp nests and hang them like outside or in certain places to keep wasps from building a nest there or from coming there. And I don't know if that is any truth to it whatsoever.
I have no idea.
I've never heard that. I just looked it up while you were saying that, and apparently that is true.
Okay. So I'm gonna go look up fake wasps.
I see. That's exactly what I looked up. I see some DIY fake wasp nests.
Okay.
But these are like this doesn't look like what I think of wasp nests here. These look like more like the paper kind.
Huh.
You know, like the big tall ones. The ones we have here are like almost like honeycombs that get stuck up under the roof.
Yeah.
These
Were
look
you there,
like different
Barbara,
kinds of wasp nests.
When we found one at Lindsay's place?
No, I don't think I was there, because if I was, I would never go back.
Oh.
But I think that must have been a time then we didn't come. I think went there once.
I ended up taking it out with one of my shoes.
Oh, dude.
The whole nest? Like you just yeeted your shoe?
Yeah, I was just hurling my shoes and then running inside. I'd wait for them all to clear and then they'd go back in and I'd like knock more down with my shoe. Because everyone was too scared to go swimming because of the wasps.
Yeah,
but,
no kidding.
We cleared them off. I sprayed them a little bit too.
It's a very Texan story. I threw my shoes at the wasp nest so everybody go swimming. It's my way.
The only way it could be more Texan is if it was a boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, cowboy boot. I was reading about some like ants and termites and stuff. There's like interesting things that happen in termite mounds, I guess, or maybe like a bunch of ants too. But I think termites have a king and queen pair and not just one queen. And if one of them dies, they can like release some sort of chemical that turns a different termite, like a reserve one, into a king or queen.
Bees are like that too.
Yeah, and they can live like 30 years.
Wow.
Oh my god.
As like a couple. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I hate that. I hate it so much.
The African mounds are like 6 feet tall. Like they have like giant.
Yeah, they have like big like air conditioning systems.
Yeah, it's like it's like a super advanced architecture and shit. Like
yeah, like
whole hive system is nuts.
The angled to see the sun at certain hours, and there's holes angled so that the wind flows over and like air conditions all the. It's so clever. It's like, but nature's amazing.
Animals, man.
Animals, man.
Yeah, like
bugs and animals.
We couldn't do that. If you were out and you were like, I want to build a house and I want to build it so it has natural air conditioning. You'd be like, I have no idea how to do that.
Absolutely not. Could we build anything, any of us? Let's be real.
But I always wonder, like, what are my instincts? Like, you see, like, I have a kitten, and the way it interacts with my other cats is a bunch of, like, genetically determined behavior. Like, it'll, like, puff up and, like, rear up sideways because it's trying to be dominant sometimes and, like, submissive at other times. I don't know what I got other than, like, run from fire. Like, what else do I know genetically?
Do you unthinkably, like, if you see fire, you run away? Or are you like...
No, but it's like, if I'm in a room and it's on fire, I know to be like, that's going to kill me, I'm going to get out of it. And I don't think I need to be taught that because it's hot.
I don't think any animal needs to be taught that. I think every animal runs away from fire. I think that's like number one. That's like the lowest hanging fruit.
Gavin, do you blush? Are you a person who blushes?
Like from embarrassment?
Just in general, and from embarrassment or from whatever, because it's the same as like a cat ridging up. It's a similar thing, right? It's a physiological response to a...
But what is that for? What does that signify to other people?
And probably that you're sorry. I guess like if you're embarrassed, like if your face turns red, just be like, "Hi, please don't beat me." Like,
I feel like most things in the animal kingdom, are for survival or like to send a message to something that doesn't speak your language. All that being embarrassed does to other people is just make them go like,
walk away.
Only to humans because we're terrible.
Right.
So you posted a photo of your cat earlier today, and what did you write? You wrote that it looked like it was in a poster for a horror movie. It looks like a vampire. Like I want to Photoshop a cape on it with the the high collar and jumping out of the darkness at someone.
I was doing the thing where like if you rub a kitten's belly, it will like grab your hands, and then you raise your hand up, and it goes. It was doing that, but I didn't want to do it too much. I don't want to teach my cat to like attack my fingers.
Yeah, because that's happened before, right? Didn't you get bitten?
Oh yeah, I got bit by Smee once, but
It's me.
he couldn't see it was me.
Are cats trainable, like in any fashion that's recognizable?
Yeah, you can train a cat.
Yeah, there's cats that are used for films, aren't there? There's got to be like trained movie cats.
Film cats, though, like you run 5 deep on a film set. Like they each know one dumb little thing, and that's it. Like that's how you max the cat out. It's like that cat knows that. That cat knows sit. It's like what else does it know? It's like that's it.
Let's get the cat that knows lie down.
Yeah, but I can play fetch with one of my cats. I accidentally trained another cat to open doors.
That's a terrible thing to teach a cat.
It's the worst thing that ever happened.
Sounds like you're building a roster of movie cats. Each cat knows one dumb thing.
When I was younger,
go ahead.
When I lived at home before, when I was still younger, my sister had a cat, and that cat had this weird habit where if it wanted to see, like, it wanted to know what was happening in the house, but it wouldn't necessarily want to walk around. So it would find like a door, and it would climb up the door frame, not the door itself. It would climb up the door frame. That way it could get like a higher vantage point, and it would like look around the entire house and could see what was going on without having to walk to any one particular place.
Wow.
Yeah, so you'd be walking, and then there'd be like a cat at your eye level, just holding onto a door frame.
I don't like that.
No, that was not a good cat.
I was watching my cat stalk a bird because Smee likes being outside, and he just sort of runs around the garden and comes back in. And another cat has like started being out there with him, but only when he's out there. But when he was stalking a bird, the other cat immediately went into like low pounce mode with him, and they would both move at exactly the same time and then stop.
Whoa,
so they had this weird thing going
cool.
on. Yeah,
Bluetooth. You have a cat with Bluetooth.
Yeah, they're synced.
There has to be a way to test what innate human abilities there are. Like what, to your point, like what cat-like abilities do we have as hunters, or because like as hunters we're supposed to be able to like run forever. That's our whole shtick. Is like you can run a deer to death and then you just walk up to it and stick it. But and then like talking is also like another thing that we're very good at in order to get things done. But I wonder
you don't just get that from birth though. You have to learn it off someone. From someone. I can't speak English.
I got my talking at birth.
Have you ever seen a video of those people? I guess it's an old tradition. It's never done anymore. But there's this tribe in Africa. I forget exactly where. I'm trying to find out where. But what they do is the way that their tribe used to get food is they would steal it from lions. Has anybody ever seen this before?
Oh yeah, it's like nuts.
Yeah, 3 of them will follow a pride of lions, and when they see that they have a kill, they'll just walk straight up to the lions, not showing any fear. And of course, that freaks the lions out. So the lions run away, and they'll carve some meat off of whatever the lions killed, and then just walk away with it. And the lions
plot of that Raw movie.
The lions are just so befuddled because no animal does that to them that the humans have a few minutes to go and get food and then leave before they come back.
Could you imagine the first guy to propose that to his tribe of people? Be like, look, we're going to take 4 of us. We're going to walk right to the lions. It's going to be great. And everyone's like, no, fucking die. Get out of here. Like,
it probably happened when like their leader got killed in some accident and like everyone was like trying to find out like who was going to lead them next. And the next guy was like, oh yeah, we can just get it. Just like walk up to it and pick it up and get it.
Oh, I never thought of that. Let's go. Let's try it.
And it worked.
Why not?
How'd it go? Shockingly well.
It does work. Like I've seen that happen in. I think I've told this story before.
Good thing he wasn't blushing.
Yeah.
Like we had this rule that when in the supermarket I worked out, if you saw someone shoplifting, you weren't meant to do anything. You were just meant to like get their appearance and we'll call the police, but you were never meant to stop them. And some guy just knew that. He would walk straight to the booze aisle and just pick up whiskey and then hold it above his head and slowly walk out and be like, I'm taking it, and just leave. And we would just call the police again and they would try and find him. He did it like 4 or 5 times probably.
Last night I started rewatching Nathan For You. Did any of you ever watch that while it was on? It was a Comedy Central show.
Too uncomfortable. I couldn't handle it.
It's super cringe, but the basic premise.
I might have seen an episode, yeah.
Yeah, is that he gives business ideas to companies that might be struggling, And one of the episodes I saw last night was one that I forgot about, where he wanted to help a clothing store, and his idea to them was that attractive people should be able to shoplift one item out of the store. And the rationale was that if they stole an item and it looked good on them, that they could tell their friends to go to the store and buy stuff.
Oh my God.
So they hired a security guard to stand at the door and watch people steal. And if the security guard determined that they were attractive, they could go and take an item. And if they weren't,
I was about to ask who was the determining factor.
Yeah, they had come up with a list of what determines whether someone was attractive or not, but the security guard was not paying attention to it. The security guard was going by his own opinions.
Yeah, you're pretty cute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta watch that show. I saw it on Hulu.
Yeah, that's why I watched it. I was looking through Hulu and it popped up as one of the recommendations. I was like, oh, it's been a few years since I've seen that, so I started watching it, and man, it's just as good now. But yeah, like Drew said, you have to be okay watching something that's really cringy.
Oh, I love it.
I'm such an empathetic viewer. I can't, I remember being a kid and not being able to watch certain episodes of Doug. Just being like, oh no, he's going to go talk to Patty Mayonnaise. I got to go. I can't look. Yeah.
Don't do it, no. Do you have trouble watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh, absolutely. I can't watch it without somebody has to be in the room with me. If I'm by myself, I'm like, I can't watch it at all.
Because that's that's one of the cringiest. It's so funny. It's also so hard to watch because you're just like, oh my God, these people and these situations that they're in just make you want to curl up in a ball and close yourself off from all humanity.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
Do you think that's gotten worse? I feel like in the mid to late 90s, Seinfeld had a lot of moments like that. But if you were to go back and watch it now, it's not nearly on the same level as other shows do that kind of thing today.
Is that because we're desensitized?
Maybe it's just getting worse and worse. What's going to happen 15 or 20 years from now? How much worse off that end is it going to be?
It feels like we're reaching an asymptote. I feel like we're getting to the upward limit, but that can't be true because it never has been in the past. We've always gone through phases of heavy stuff and not heavy stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's 15 years for media. We'll still be in lockdown.
Good.
We need to next year needs to be 2020, right?
2022.
I feel like this was a wash for everything and everyone. I don't want to turn 31 this July and then turn 32 next July. I feel like next July I should be turning 31 because this year was just a complete shit show.
Well, I joked on Twitter that we should just call it 2022, but then someone else suggested we could also call it 20/21 or 2021 for short.
What about 2019, the Snyder Cut?
Oh God.
I'm a little. So people are really excited about that, right? But I think that's insulting to the people who worked on the film. Am I off base here? I think that it would be insulting to Joss Whedon that people are petitioning to get this other cut, or they're so happy to see this other cut. It's but that's not the movie that was made and released.
Did Zack Snyder get removed from the project and Joss Whedon? Is that right? Is Joss Whedon going to do the reshoot?
Yeah, Zack Snyder had to leave because he had some family things going on, and Joss Whedon had to come in and did the reshoots.
I feel like that's happened a few times before. I know Superman 2 had a bunch of director trouble where there was 2 at different points, and only one is credited. It was a whole thing in the industry. But yeah, I guess it is disrespectful to the original.
To the people who were credited, right?
It's kind of similar to when what is the thing called where they take films for historical preservation that they do in the US?
Library of Congress?
Yeah, but George Lucas refused to deliver the original cuts of Star Wars, and he will only give them the new ones.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Why? Why would he refuse?
There's some reason why he's just there's a reason why they can't release the original ones, right? Some legal reason that he's tied up in that they just can't do it.
Yeah. Who knows? Oh God. Yeah. Who knows? He hates those films for some reason. He can't stop tinkering with them.
He hates all of his movies. I didn't realize his student film THX 1138. He went back and added CG to it 25 years later, and that was his first feature that nobody's really people know about it, but it's not as well known as a Star Wars. Yeah, he went back and like added shit to it. You're like, dude, nobody cares about this movie. Why are you adding like robots and cars and shit to this? Nobody cared.
I mean, this says a lot about someone, because like with art and stuff and like painters, Like apparently it's just really hard to be done. Like and they say that like art is never finished; it's just abandoned. But he just can't abandon his films. Even decades pass.
I think art's only abandoned because you run out of financing. Like that's usually, especially with film, you usually just run out of people who are like, okay, like buddy, like we can't do anymore. This is way too far. Leave. But George Lucas just has infinity money, so it's just like, no, I'm gonna do a couple more hours, just 2 more here. Like he can't be stopped.
It's out of control, man.
Yeah.
Remember movies?
Yeah.
Oh man.
You guys watch anything new recently? I mean, there's new stuff being released on a bunch of platforms.
I just binge watched The Great.
Ooh.
How is that?
The Great is good. It's fine.
It's not great.
It's cool. It's by the guy who wrote The Favorite. It's got a bunch of actors from The Favorite as well, and it's also shot in the same location as The Favorite, but it's all about Catherine the Great in Russia. So as long as you can like swallow that pill if you've seen The Favorite.
Yeah, I love The Favorite.
I enjoyed it considerably. So then you'll love.
We agree on something.
Yeah,
Drew,
aren't you guys notorious
Yeah.
for like never agreeing on if content is good or bad?
That's right.
We're normally exact opposites. I can't believe that we both like The Favorite.
So far it's Parasite and The Favorite as far as movies go.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've only met one person who didn't like didn't like Parasite, and that was Christian, right?
Yeah.
Or like he didn't think it was that good.
It went on too long.
Oh god.
Does he know how to read?
I think
I don't know.
I got that this week. I got that Parasite graphic novel that they made using the storyboards from the film, and that was really interesting to look through. There's a couple of deleted and extended scenes in the book that didn't make it to the film, and there's like an alternate version of the ending as well. It was really really interesting to look through. Highly recommend. If you like the film, I highly recommend you check out that.
How many times have you seen it now?
Oh God, maybe 30 if I had to guess.
Whoa! Are you?
So how many times? So that's going to be like once a week since it came out.
Oh yeah, there was a period where it was like once a day. And then it petered down to once a week.
I'm not a person who repeat watches things or reads things ever. Is there something gained by that many repeat viewings, or does it just become like a comfort thing at a certain point?
It becomes a comfort thing, but then every now and then you do realize something different or something that you may have missed at one point. It's definitely after watching it this many times, I don't find anything new that often, but it does happen occasionally.
Is that your most frequently watched film of all time?
Hard to say. When I was younger, I watched Run Lola Run a bunch because it was like a 70-minute movie, and I would put it on when I was cleaning my apartment. It's like, if I put this on now and I clean my apartment, I'll know that I've spent like a little over an hour cleaning.
It's also in 20-minute chunks, so I'm sure you broke it into different chores.
Right.
Like this 20-minute chunk is the bathroom. This 20-minute chunk is sweeping.
Exactly.
I've probably watched Ace Ventura: Pet Detective the most of any film.
I like how
I would always just rent it. It was like if ever I was off school because I was sick or something, I would always just rent that film. I should have bought it. It would have been more cost effective.
Yeah, at that point. You and I both have a comfort film that is Jim Carrey. Mine is The Mask.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie probably 100+ times.
Do you own it in its like most modern state? Like, do you have it on Blu-ray or anything like that?
No. I watched it when I was younger a lot, and I think we had the VHS tape of it back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that
was
movie
also
even available in Blu-ray?
I would imagine.
Oh, it has to be.
I want to have a Jim Carrey marathon movie night.
That'd be awesome. I would go.
Both comedic and dramatic. Because
maybe just the comedic one.
It is available in Blu-ray.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Like all the Ace Venturas, The Mask, Liar Liar. There's so many like classic, amazing comedies with Jim Carrey that just make me feel like a child again.
That man owned the 90s.
For sure.
I rewatched The Mask last year sometime, and I remember I looked it up. I'm going to look it up here. At the time that I was watching, because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I realized, I want to say that The Mask, Ace Ventura, and Dumb and Dumber all came out the same year.
Yeah, 1994.
94.
Yeah. What a year.
What
a year for that guy.
Yeah, what a debut film-wise. Yeah, Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, all the same year.
Damn.
That was the 90s.
And then he did Batman Forever the next year and Ace Ventura 2.
He's like our version of doing 20 hours of content a week, but in movie form.
I don't think I would want to meet another celebrity more than him.
Oh, absolutely. He's my top.
Yeah.
Him
Just
and Ryan
towering
Reynolds
above
is up there.
everyone else. Him and who?
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay.
Only because I just want to see that human being in my life at least once.
He's like the ultimate Canadian, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's king of Canada.
Which, like, a couple of people, speaking of being Canadian, people have been pointing out that, like, the longer that this quarantine goes on, they're like, I think Barbara's accent is starting to come back because she's not spending as much time around multiple Americans.
What words do you think you're saying normally now?
A couple of boats have come out here and there.
The around you said a little while ago was very Canadian.
Yeah, I just need to slap it out of myself again.
Why?
Not that I'm ashamed of it, but I need
But
to.
apparently you are.
A little bit.
Keep it.
All right. We also, I think the trailer is going to be out by the time this podcast is out. We put out the hardcore mini golf trailer, and the whole time in that, I'm playing like a British character, and I butcher that accent so bad. It's not my strong suit.
Yeah, I can't do accents. It's not in my wheelhouse.
I thought I could do accents when I was younger, but then I realized I lived in Oklahoma, and that none of the things I was doing was correct. It was just me being really ignorant.
I read that Tesla is looking to build a new factory, and they're looking at either the Austin area or the Tulsa area.
Oh, do we want him here though?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to hear?
He's just a bit of a lunatic at the moment.
He's going off the deep end. Yeah.
That's true.
I think I said that on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. It's like that's the worst part about owning the car is him.
Yeah.
But he has potential to be great. Like he's working towards good stuff. I feel like.
But like, didn't the director of the manned NASA flight like just bounce and was like, I can't with this. Maybe with this guy or like with this project anymore. Like he has to have something to do with it, right?
I'm looking it up. I didn't hear about that.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Like,
and I think recently his tweet about how Tesla was valued too high wipes like billions of dollars off the value of Tesla.
Oh my God, why would he do that?
I feel like
it's like me being like, hey, I don't think I should be getting paid this much. Why don't you give me a demotion?
I feel like if you want to be permanently unhappy and bored, just become a billionaire. Do you know any of them who aren't like deeply troubled?
Let me think about all the billionaires I know. Hold on.
Yeah, personally. Let's see. 1, 2.
I feel like Bill Gates kind of has his shit together. Like Bill Gates, he's like trying, okay. Like,
he's found his drive.
If you invent a virus and invent a technology to activate it via 5 gigahertz, I mean, you'd be pretty happy too.
Is that what 5G is? 5 gigahertz?
Oh no, it's not. It's 5th generation. You're right.
I've got 5 gigahertz in my router.
Like 60. The 5G frequency it's 2 different frequencies. It's 450 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. Is frequency 1, and frequency 2 is 24.25 gigahertz to 52.6 gigahertz.
And which one is he controlling us with?
I think frequency 2 is the one that's being used for control.
And the first one's the virus?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, got it. Virus and control. Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Just as long as we're all on the same page.
All in one package. You give it an easy name like 5G to market it.
I like have the conspiracy subreddit on my feed, and I'm about to like turn it on. I can't anymore. Like it was fine before the pandemic.
How could you deal with that?
Like scroll through and it's like, hey, that might lead me to a good idea for something else. But then like right now it's just dumpster fire. Like more
I can't even imagine with something like this. That's so people still don't understand so many things about it. We don't understand so many things about it, but I could only imagine how not so crazy it's driving some people and how many different theories there are floating around that are just absolutely absurd. can't even begin.
On Monday's podcast, I started telling a story and about when I went to Hank's and I picked up that egg sandwich to eat over the weekend. There was another part of that story that I didn't tell that this is making me think about. So when I went to...
Is the Sorolla cut?
Is the Sorolla cut. When I went to Hank's to pick up that food, the restaurants are starting to reopen here. They're not fully open, but at Hank's, you could sit on the patio outside if you wanted to eat there. And the way that it worked was you would walk up, you place your order at the host stand, then you go and you sit, and the tables are all separated. When I went, there were only 4 tables that were occupied in the whole restaurant. And you all know, you've seen it. The restaurant's huge, and there's only 4 tables occupied. So anyway, I go up there to get my takeout food. I tell the host, I'm here. I placed an order online. He goes, okay, let me go get it. He walks into the back. And behind me in line, this couple walks up. And I see them park the car, and they walk up, and they're not wearing masks. Everybody else, of course, has masks on, except these 2 walking up. I'm like, God damn it, of course, they're going to get up here in line behind me. They stay a distance away. And the host comes back out, and he looks. The hostess comes out. She looks at me and goes, your food's coming out. Can you stand to the side? That way I can help these people. I'm like, sure. So I step off to the side to, have some distance. And those 2 people walk up, and the hostess looks at them and says, you two, you need to have masks on. If you don't have any with you, you can have some. I'll supply you. And then she pulls out a box of masks, disposable masks to give to them. And the couple are like, oh, no, it's okay. And they reach into the pocket and pull out their masks and put it on. It's like, you all see everyone else is wearing them. You have the fucking mask in your pocket.
Oh my God.
Put them on.
Here's the thing. Because we went to HEB the other day for a couple little things. And I was walking through the store and I was like, this makes me so uncomfortable. But now I can pick out the stupid people way easier. Like before, you don't know who's stupid. Now, that guy, you, Mr. Nose Out right there, you're dumb. So easy.
Or the people wearing the masks like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like this, just on their chin.
Have you seen that illustration that's if you wear your mask like this and it has the nose out, it's like wearing your underwear like this and it has someone's penis out on top of the underwear. Which is to say, I know some people can't wear them, right, for whatever reason. But
but they probably shouldn't be going out.
Well, there's way more people not wearing them than I think have a legitimate excuse not to. Right. And like I said, the couple behind me in this instance at Hank's, they obviously had masks and knew they were supposed to wear them and put them on without any fuss. It's just frustrating to see that.
What was up with that video of the mask with a button that opens up like a Pac-Man mouth? Have you seen that?
I don't think I saw that.
I saw Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's like a mask with a tube coming out for, I guess, the control wire and just a button. And it's a video of a guy, taking his fork up to his mask, press the button, and the mask goes, and he puts his food in and it closes again. I was like, is this a parody thing? What is this? Is this a real thing? What's the point of a mask that opens over your mouth? What?
I've not seen that.
Try and find it.
I saw the lo-fi version of that, which was a dude who had taken a pack of Cottonelle personal wipes and had left the little flap on the lid. And so it would just it was the manual version. You just click it open, eat some food, and then put it back down.
I saw someone do this thing where they didn't have a mask, but they had to go out. I think it was a joke video, but they put their hood up like this, and they took a lid from a pot and put it in here and then tightened the strings on their hood. So it was just this glass pot lid right here. And I was like, that's pretty smart.
And technically it works until you sneeze.
It's like your own sneeze guard.
That's horrifying.
Wow.
What is that? And who is that? And is this real? I hope it's not.
Oh, that dude looks like a knockoff Jeremy Clarkson trying to be a real life Muppet.
And that's from a video. You can actually see it in action.
If that thing doesn't chew, then it's not worth the purchase. Just
Oh, that's great. But yeah, it's weird. What are we? So I guess at this point now we're in phase 2 of Texas reopening. Which tomorrow bars can reopen, which seems really scary to me. Yeah, I believe
irresponsible.
Tomorrow, bars can reopen.
I don't know if we should address this or not because it was just one comment, but I saw a comment on last week's podcast that was just why are they still doing podcasts from home? Texas has reopened. So I don't know if we should address that
Well, Austin really hasn't. Austin has different rules than the rest of Texas. The mayor's been like way more cautious than the rest of Texas.
But even if Austin has started reopening, which I'm sure it will little by little as time goes on, Rooster Teeth is going to make sure that everyone is safe and that we're operating in a smart, sensible way. And I don't really see us going back to the office and interacting with each other in person to a large scale anytime soon.
Yeah, I think we started our work from home before the city issued its shelter-in-place order.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you may start to see us slowly, little by little, filtering in, but you won't see like you did earlier this year. That'll be a while before you have a large production like that again.
Plus, now I got to worry about Legionnaire's disease. So.
I feel like a lot of the gaming stuff too, they don't necessarily need to rush back. Like most of Achievement Hunter can be done from our homes anyway, without like a significant loss in quality.
It's only
definitely a vibe missing from not being able to look over and see someone, but
sure. And like the between the game stuff that you guys would typically do is I have to get a little more creative with what you do. Just kind of like what we're having to do for RT Life and Hard Mode and different series we make like that. We have to get real creative with it.
I think a big thing for me has been like it's so much harder to read a room now, like in video chats. Like you can't feel people's energy near you or next to you, and so it's just like I don't know what y'all are about. I don't know if we're having a good day or bad day, but I'm gonna say my piece. Good luck. Like,
yeah, it's also really like when you're saying something in a group meeting and then nobody responds because it's like everyone's at their own computer in their own space. Like some people are looking at their phone or a different tab. And it's not like being in person where if someone's like clearly on their phone or laptop in front of you, you're like, hey, could you not be doing that in the meeting? But for this, it's just like, all right, anyone have any thoughts on that? Hello?
And in real life, there's no possibility of a connection issue. Like you're never in a room full of people and then you're like, oh, did I cut out?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. When you go on like saying like a long piece and you're like, oh, nobody heard anything, or oh, I'm muted, or my connection dropped. It's terrible.
All the stereotypes are absolutely true. It happened to us all the time.
I'm pretty sure it happened to me last week. I audibly farted in a meeting without thinking about it. Like I was just like hanging out, thinking about stuff, and I was like, oh God.
Your thing just lights up like.
Are you talking? Are you talking? No, my ass is.
Just full screens your video, but you're not saying anything.
The problem I've been having, it's not something that I do, but I've got a large window off here to my left, and for some reason, multiple. It hasn't happened the past couple of days, but some days, a few times a day, a bird will try to fly through that window. So I'll just be sitting here, and I'll hear like a thunk, and I'll look, and I'll see a bird flying away. Like, okay. So if you ever hear like a loud thunk in the background when we're doing this, and if I look off that way, there's probably a bird that just flew into a window.
That means that's happening. I mean, that's happening whether you're home or not. So like, how many birds have hit that window at this point? Like we're talking.
I have
no idea.
Yeah.
There's one imprint I can definitely see.
You'll see them if they hit.
I found a dead bird in my backyard once.
That's so sad.
Like must have hit it a little too hard. Birds are dumb. They're watching. I'm sure you've seen the animated adventure. They're watching me.
I sent you that clip, didn't I, of that bird that flew into the side of my house and then a cat ate it immediately.
It's so weird. The cat was like, it was waiting for that.
Yeah, it's like a motion alert. I got on my phone and I was like, it was like David Attenborough should have been narrating it. You see the bird go into the wall, not even a window. It plops down onto the floor, and within like 2 or 3 seconds, it's being carried away by a cat that just runs in from off screen.
Man,
aren't you glad you don't have to worry about that? That you're not constantly looking over your shoulder, worrying if an animal's going to come eat you.
No, you just walk right up to it and take what you need.
It's not like you have to worry about a bear. Like, right, if you were in the woods, like you'd think about like a bear or a mountain lion or something that would come and get you. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about, in your day-to-day life, you don't worry about an animal just showing up and eating you.
Yeah.
Nope, just viruses coming for you.
I mean, most animals are scared of humans.
True.
Just based on evolution.
Oh, speaking of animals, I read this crazy story, I think it was last week or the week before, about this war, this 4-year-long war that some chimpanzees had. What was it? It was the Gombe Chimpanzee War. It lasted from 1974 to 1978. And
we're literally on the monkey news section of the podcast.
Isn't that crazy? It's like
is this a recurring section? I've been keeping up lately.
It is on the Gervais podcast.
Is it? I guess it was this large tribe of chimpanzees, and then like one group splintered off and went and did its own thing, and then they just went to war with each other. And it's crazy to read all the details about it, but it was this 4-year-long war, and eventually one of the tribes of chimpanzees just ends up getting totally wiped out.
Yeah, I imagine it was gruesome. I bet there was like baby stealing and cannibalism. Monkeys are messed up.
It was
from a human perspective.
Chimps especially are fucked up. Like, you can't have a chimpanzee after it's a baby because it'll just rip your face off one day for fun.
It'll rip your face or genitals off and eat them.
Yeah.
Fun.
Buy PG tips.
Anyway, monkeys.
Scary, dude.
Don't go to war with monkeys. I think that'll be the title of this episode.
Wasn't it like when the virus first started? Wasn't there? I forget what place it was. I want to say like Singapore, maybe, where because there were like no tourists or people out in the streets for days or weeks.
It was Thailand.
Monkeys started like taking over.
Mm-hmm. It was
that to me is the scariest reality.
There were monkeys in Thailand and the deer in Japan, in Nara, Japan. They're both groups of animals that are normally fed by tourists, and since the tourists were gone, they just went on a rampage through the town.
Don't mess about.
Did they go like looking for stuff? Like they went to go like hunt people down
hungry.
And get food? Right? They're human trained.
Right. They just went through the town and just started eating everything.
Oh.
Oof. My God.
But yeah,
that is some nightmare fuel.
The video of monkeys was way more terrifying, I thought.
Anything with thumbs is scary to me. Like, if you have thumbs, that means you can open cabinets and doors and locks and shit. Like, I know
I can open a cabinet without a thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's way easier with a thumb. You can hold a mug. You can hold anything with a thumb can hold a hot mug of something, and then
that monkey has a mug.
Don't baby raccoons have thumbs?
That's what I'm saying. Is like that's why I gave him the cup of dog food to appease the thumbed thing that lives next door.
So would you say like
know where to get food?
Things that don't have thumbs, if they had thumbs, would be even more scary? Like an alligator with a thumb?
100%. Well, two things. One, it'd be funny if it was like on his forehead. Like if it was not where a thumb was supposed to be. I don't think that would be as scary. But if an alligator walked out and was like, "Hey, you want a thumb wrestle?" I'd be like, "No."
Or he just had a gun.
I'm not afraid of alligators. Well, this alligator has a gun. Oh, I'm very afraid of that alligator then.
Welcome to Florida, bitch.
Did you read about that woman in South Carolina who got killed by an alligator a couple of weeks ago?
No.
I'm trying to look up the exact details. I believe it was the woman was like she did people's nails, and she showed up to an in-home appointment to do someone else's nails, and the nail, what do you call them? The nail dresser? What's the appropriate name there?
Nail tech?
The nail tech saw an alligator out at a lake on this woman's property, so she went out by it, and the woman who owned the house was like, "Don't go over there. There's an alligator over there." And I saw that alligator eat a deer last week, and the nail tech's response was, "Don't worry, I don't look anything like a deer." So she went up to the lake to try to touch the deer, or to try to touch the alligator. The alligator snatched her and started dragging her under the water. The people who were there tried to save her. They tried to pull her out of the water, and her last words were, "I guess I won't do this again." And then the alligator dragged her under.
Oh my God! Oh,
wow, that's awful.
Man.
Yeah,
probably like stuck in a death roll.
Yeah, that's terrible. I can't imagine how awful that is to experience.
Ugh.
Like,
add that to the list of things I don't want to experience while dying, or ever in my life.
Yes.
Ways I don't want to die at number 2005.
I think the best way to die would be stood under a nuke.
Just vaporize.
I think it would be
you don't feel anything.
Dying in your sleep, probably while you're real old.
Do you think
do
that
you really
maybe
die in your sleep?
I always wonder about this.
Die without waking up first.
He went peacefully in his sleep is like maybe like the only thing that I could think of is like, oh, you had a nightmare so bad that it killed you. Right. So that's not peacefully in your sleep at all. That's just you're freaking the fuck out and you just don't wake up.
I mean, you can die in a coma, but surely if you die in the night while you're just asleep, you wake up and die, and then then the people just say you died in your sleep.
Or what if you have the worst nightmare ever? Like that's what it is. Like like kind of parallel to what Drew's saying. It's like, what if part of that is you actually don't wake up? You just have literally the worst nightmare of your life that could conceivably seem to go on for a really long time.
Because like every time someone's like, "Oh, he died peacefully in his sleep," like that's how I want to go. But then I was thinking about, I guess Fred Willard. That's how everybody framed him dying this week. Was like, yeah, peacefully in his sleep. I was like, I don't know about that, man. There's a catch in there. Somebody's not telling me something.
Yeah.
I also was very confused because that article about him came out and it was like, Fred Willard, age 86, passed away. But I looked him up and I think it was either his Wikipedia or IMDb page. One of them was saying he was 81. And one was saying he was born in this year and another one was saying he was born in that year. And I was like, is he 81 or 86? And I think I discovered he's 86. But it's weird that there's information about someone that big who... like they have inconsistencies with when he was born and stuff like that. I found it very interesting. But
I think that happens a lot in entertainment, right? People fudge their birth years.
Actors, man, they'll tell you. Yeah.
What a career
I still
that
don't
guy
I still don't know how old Joel Heyman is. And I don't think I ever will.
That was one of the things when Grant Thompson, the YouTuber, he died in a paramotor accident. But all of the first reports had his age wrong.
Weird.
Which made me think it maybe wasn't true. So I was like, shit, is this real? And I just couldn't figure out for ages if it was real or not. It turned out to unfortunately be real, but the first few articles had his age all over the place.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation online too if you look something up. I think for a long time, if you looked me up, it said that I was born in Webb County, Texas, which is entirely untrue. The people just post stuff, write stuff online.
A lot of my early life and heritage stuff is just complete garbage online. But why would I change it?
That actually segues into something that I wanted to talk about. We were doing that Stuck at Home podcast with Bernie. We did a few episodes of that. First episode's available for everyone. Then we have 3 others that are available for first members. But when we were planning that, we were trying to organize when we were going to tape it, how many we were going to do, and all of that. I saw people posting online, the rumor mill just starting, and people saying that Bernie had cut all ties with us, or that he was mad at the other founders and that we weren't talking. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't want to address that, but that's entirely untrue. And I saw people agreeing or piling onto that. It's a good time to just remind people, just because you read something online doesn't necessarily make it true.
There's a lot of very false information floating around. I mean, online in general, but also within the Rooster Teeth community about why certain things happen or why certain decisions were made. And don't believe a one random comment you read and then take that information and make that fact to yourself.
Yeah. The other thing I don't like is when people are like, oh, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read. It's like, well, then don't repeat it.
Right. Because then someone's going to see your comment and then be like, oh, I know why this happened because I saw a comment about it. This is why.
Right. It just builds on it. Yeah. There was a lot of that also in the early days of shelter in place and lockdown. I saw a lot of people writing oh, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read that the government's going to institute martial law and they're just waiting until they have the troops in place. It's not true.
So don't repeat it. If you don't know if it's true.
There's no value in saying it.
I think that's where a lot of those conspiracy theories come from, and also just people repeating things. People want some modicum of control over their space, and so it's them being able to be like, I know a thing, I have a fact. Let me show you what I know, so that I can have control over this situation that's going on. I think with something like this, it's so out of nobody knows all the facts yet. It's trying to figure it out. I think a lot of people kind of grasp onto that and say, I have the facts, but
Yep.
But no,
it's something where I think it feels empowering to have information and to know something that other people don't. And I feel like that a lot of people online, I don't want to say this in a weird way, but get off on that kind of power. So when they could say something that oh, well, this is why, or, oh, I heard because of this, being that person to deliver that information and know something that other people don't is a very self-fulfilling feeling. So I could see why people would want to do it. Just don't.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I just felt like I wanted to say that on Monday when we talked about the Stuck at Home podcast and when Jeff was on.
Gus, why are you mad at Bernie?
It's funny because we text like every day.
Yeah, I feel like I talk to him more now than I did when he was at the office with us.
He sent me a video the other day of that call center where we all met and we all worked at. He had, I guess he took a video in, I forget what year. I think he took a video in 97 and then another video in 1999. And he shared them with us. I was like, man, I forgot how small that call center was or how close, there's a lot of little details you forget. It was weird to see that space again because that office doesn't exist anymore. They've moved since then, and that building is something different now. I have no idea because it must have been on tape somehow.
Yeah, like it's not like it's not like cameras were rare then, but it is rare to bring one into an office job.
I think he was trying to film some promotional stuff for the company, and I mean that's the only thing I can think. That's how it kind of looks like.
It's funny you're saying that you get more texts from him now than you did before, and I think the same is for me. He'll text me about like the most random things or like send me TikToks, and I'm just like, oh, this is nice. I get to talk to Bertie more. But he sent me a text right after Last Laugh came out, and he said, it's funny. This is gonna spoil it, so if you haven't seen that episode yet, it's out. It's over a week that it came out now, so you should watch it. But he said, it's funny, I laughed at the exact same point as Gus. Must be from working together so long.
That's the last text he sent me. The last text he sent me was, dude, I laughed at the exact same moment as you on Last Laugh. Barb's eye lock would have killed me.
Yeah.
Something about like the eyes with like that teary look that you do. It's irresistible. Laughter.
I also painted like eyelashes down there too so that they would tear while I cried.
Sad clown.
Can we talk about stuff that was cut from that didn't make it to the final edit, or do we wait until it's all over?
I think we could. If it's not going to spoil anything too bad. I mean,
it didn't have any effect on the end of the game, but
right.
Another reason that, like, so when you came through the door and we locked eyes, the thought that went through my head was that if I turned away, that you were just going to target me. So I had to like kind of stand my ground and hopefully not laugh. But what had given me confidence into thinking that I couldn't laugh was, and this was cut entirely. This didn't come out. This was cut entirely from the show. Was earlier in the competition, Lindsay had come back after she'd been eliminated, and she was acting like a cat, and she was covered in lube, and she was targeting me hard, like rubbing on me and rolling around at my feet. Like trying to get me to laugh.
I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, and in my mind, I was like, I survived Lindsay targeting me. I was like, I can do this. I can stare Barbara down and not laugh. Like the Lindsay thing had given me confidence, but I just couldn't hold it together.
I like that whole thing took place, and aside from this story, no one will ever know about it.
Yeah, it was gone. It was cut entirely.
Although, like, they have 6 hours of footage from multiple cameras. I feel like there could be some bonus things released at some point.
Deleted
like
moments.
That. Yeah.
That's what's always weird about doing productions with other parts of Rooster Teeth, is that in Achievement Hunter, almost everything comes out. If we do like an hour-long Gmod video, it'll probably come out as like 45 minutes with just like gaps cut out, but not like big chunks cut. So it's always weird to see or hear about something that you may have done in a Rooster Teeth video and be like, oh, I forgot about that because it didn't come out. Like, this whole thing was cut. It's like a very different thing than what we do in AH.
Yeah, well, that was like 6 hours of footage.
Yeah,
that
and each episode half an hour, right?
Yeah, about half an hour. So I mean, they end up cutting over half probably of everything that was taped.
Yeah.
How many hours of footage did you guys get for Weird Place, Drew?
So it came out to be, we had an hour of content that we actually like aired, and we shot 4 6-hour days. So there was 20, probably in the neighborhood of like 15 hours of footage.
Wow.
And you put out one.
Yeah, because we were like, we would be in there all night.
Yeah.
And we'd be shooting pretty consistent. Like, Gav, correct me if I'm wrong. We shot almost the whole night we were in there, right? Like,
yeah, there wasn't a ton of waiting around. It was
right.
The most of the downtime was like, oh, we've unlocked a door. We'll now walk through it, and then you would be like, all right, hold, and all the cameras, because we didn't have like 19 cameras. It was like 2 main ones walking around or something, or 2 or 3. So everyone had to like move past us and get ahead of us so we could like film us coming through. So it was like stop-start in that regard, but it wasn't a ton of like waiting around.
Right. There wasn't like it wasn't like on a movie set where you're like reframing things. So yeah, we were always. It was a ton of footage for a 60-minute show.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But we also wasted a ton of footage because there was that bit right at the beginning where we couldn't get in the house because we hadn't discovered the thing that unlocks the door. But the thing is like it wasn't real. Like there wasn't anything tied to what unlocked the door. You would just be like, all right, that unlocked the door.
Right. I had to like give the cue to unlock it.
Yeah. So I found the thing that unlocked the door, but no one on the crew, because we were all like spread out. So I like opened the mailbox or did something, and then it did nothing. So I was like, well, that's not it.
Right.
And then
you were like by yourself away from camera and like playing with something.
And after like half an hour or something, you were like, guys, mailbox. And I was like, oh, I already tried that. I didn't do anything. And we were like, damn it.
No. Okay, we'll try it again. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that was pretty funny.
Did you all see that announcement a couple weeks ago about how Tom Cruise is going to film part of a movie in space?
He's been wanting to do that for years. And
yeah, like, I guess they're finally going to do it.
Fuck yeah, that dude. He
what
like files his own insurance
out
policies.
Of that? What do they gain? They can't do on a vomit comet.
It has nothing to do with gaining. It's just Tom Cruise wants to do crazy shit. Yeah. That's it. He like.
I'll tell you what it does. We're talking about that movie now,
right?
Even though it's not filmed yet.
Yeah, it's just like when he was hanging off the side of the plane as it took off in that other movie.
And where like he does all the skydiving shit. He takes out an insurance policy and gets a producer credit on any movie that he does, so that he can do his own stunts. Just because he loves like thrill-seeking shit like that.
I bet though, if they do have him in space for real, they will do a shot that lets you know that it's real. Like he's inside a space station and then like opens the door,
right?
And they follows him out into open space, and it's like there were no green screens, and it's like, well, you think about cost like 1,000 times more money.
We think about like in Mission Impossible Fallout, they have that Halo parachute scene, right? Which they did practically. It's like the same kind of thing where you're filming inside a plane and then with no cut, no nothing, you walk off the plane and jump out.
They did that
to me
35 times, right? It was like 35 takes or something nuts.
It just wasn't as impressive to me as the holding onto the side of the plane one. Because I feel like a Halo jump you could easily fake. You could easily. It's not like you could see all his facial details.
MI2 is still the one for me when he's between the two rocks and like just he's free soloing that fucking dude.
It's Wiley, that little boy.
That sequence where he pulls the brakes on the bike and he like endos the front and it's spinning round and it like just spins round over and over again in the camera. That is an insane piece of cinema. It's ridiculous.
I've got a couple of friends who've like done AC movies with him, and apparently a thing that he does, because AC does focus pulling, he'll ask the AC what foot they want him to land on. Like if he's doing a run, like his classic Tom Cruise run, they'll be like, he'll ask like, do you want my right foot or left foot on the mark? And the AC will be like, I don't know, right? And he'll make sure, like my buddy said he was doing like 100-yard dash, and every single time he would hit his right foot right on that mark, no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah, like the dude
that's a skill, dude.
Like
he's very good.
My God.
A technician.
I can't even remember what hand I picked something up with when I film something.
He clearly has like a great idea of a lot of the technical roles on a film set. Like even to even suggest that, he must know exactly what they're dealing with.
Well, and like, has he directed anything? I don't even know. I'm gonna have to look it up. Because I feel like he would be he'd be a very good director because he's been around forever.
He'd probably be an excellent camera operator too.
Right.
Maybe he'll be a camera operator for himself. Like they can save money on his space filming if he operates the camera as well as acts.
Well, I feel like that was like a classic Jackie Chan move. Would be like, Jackie Chan would want a shot of like a sweeping camera shot as like a bunch of bad guys like scale a wall. And they'd be like, we can't afford to like put a crane up on the rooftop. And Jackie Chan would be like, someone hold my legs, I'll hold the camera. And he would just like operate the camera in this, super dangerous location himself just to get the shot. That was like a super like common thing for him to do.
Tom Cruise has directed one episode of television in 1993, according to IMDb.
I've never heard of the TV show.
Right. Fallen Angels.
Oh man. You know what I haven't stopped to think about yet? is when we used to do the RT podcast in the studio, Gus, and when Bernie was on the podcast, you guys used to have your laptops open so you could like Google stuff like conversations like this that we're talking about. We could do that. All of us are doing that now. All of us are on our computers just Googling stuff during the podcast. I never even thought about it.
I can't use my PC though because I have one of those really loud mechanical keyboards. So I have to use my laptop here to the side. Here, I'm gonna type something for you. You pick that up?
Yeah, it's not very fun.
I'm gonna try this now. Can you hear mine? Mine's not as loud. Sweet.
No.
Got away with that.
Guess you got a better mic.
Or it's just further away, maybe.
Yeah, if we're listening on Discord, it may not pick up on the threshold.
True.
I was also hoping for a really long con joke, Gavin, and like you were gonna play a piano concerto suddenly out of nowhere. Can you hear mine?
Just have like a sample saved.
Man, the prep to get that joke ready.
like a run in an hour and 15 minutes into the podcast. Like, oh, there it is. Okay.
What was that gag that Todd did on the podcast where he had them Photoshop? Like he wanted to bring something up specifically, and he had like all this animated
Baby Yoda?
Photoshop. He had like this long setup. He made me talk about something.
Yeah, he like made you talk about something, and then like he was like zoom in on the photo and like built this whole thing in Photoshop. It was like it enhanced the photo, and then it was like a mime. It was a mime, right? In his eye. Yeah. It was for the bit where the lady in Japan saw herself, and like somebody figured out where she lived because of the reflection from her eye. That's what it was.
Look at you, good memory.
Were you on that podcast?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been on a podcast since we stole Chad's desk?
Yes. I think I've been on twice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I believe. So.
Yeah.
I still love your reaction to seeing it because you just walk past it at first without noticing.
Look, man, it's noisy in here. Okay, like I got a lot going on, and so like I walked in. Oh, it seems really like I remember thinking like it was breezy. I was like, oh, it seems really spacious in here. And then like I turned around and was like, oh, Chad's desk is gone. Fuck.
That whole thing was such a thing. I don't know how else to describe it. There was like a lot of prep work for something that should have been a very simple thing. But the videos that came from that day were so fun. Still some of my favorite stuff we've made recently.
I also really like John's explanation at the beginning, the way he phrases it, because he's talking about John Mace working on getting the microwave, and then he's like, "How do you work on getting a microwave?" Like he's genuinely angry.
Like was he building it?
Sounds about right.
All that work, and that microwave is just sitting at our office getting a lesion. What's it called?
It's getting Legionnaire's disease. It's getting Legionnaire's microwave.
I'm just gonna keep saying Allegiant Air.
Allegiant Air's microwave.
We had a new episode of Black Box Down come out today. Plug on Thursday, not on Monday. Everyone should go listen to it.
That podcast is so good. I was actually listening to it right before we recorded Dungeons and Dragons today. I was almost late because I was so engrossed in the story.
That was a brutal one. Value Jet 592. That was the first episode of that podcast we had to record from home.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So that was that long ago that we taped
that. Ahead are you on that one?
We taped episode 10 2 weeks ago, and we're taking a little break right now because we got so far ahead. Actually, I should say I don't even know if we're going to make more. Can I say that? Yeah, we made 10. And then depending on the reaction, we may make more. We may make more. I think right now it's been pretty positive. So I think we're starting the process of exploring what it would take to make more. So
a plane crash.
There are no more scheduled at the moment, but I think we're at the point where we're going to start trying to figure out if we can schedule some more.
I lost context, and I thought you meant there are no more plane crashes scheduled. And I was like, I don't know that you can.
No, we have a big list of incidents that we want to cover. Episode 10 is our longest episode. I think episode 10 we taped for over an hour, so that might be an hour long episode.
And they're usually what, 30?
About 30 minutes. About 30 minutes is what we shoot for.
Gotcha.
It's like the perfect commute podcast.
Yeah, not too long. Not too short.
Unless you're commuting by plane.
Right.
Oh yeah, I imagine people wouldn't necessarily want to listen to it on a plane. Although, as you say in the show, Gus, air travel is the safest form of travel.
It's very true. And it's because of incidents like that. Things just get safer and safer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I finished up on an unrelated note. I finished watching The Last Dance earlier this week. It's that ESPN documentary about Michael Jordan. I don't know if anybody else saw it.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that last week.
Yeah, I hadn't finished it yet by that point, but I just finished it earlier this week. God, it is so good. Even if you're not a basketball fan or you don't think you know anything about sports, I would highly recommend everyone watch it. My glasses are crooked.
I think they look great. I didn't notice.
I think your head's crooked.
Maybe eating meat has affected your nose shape.
Maybe I'm off kilter. But anyway, yeah, The Last Dance. It's really, really good. I highly recommend everyone watch it. I think it really contextualizes what a force Michael Jordan was in not only in sports but in pop culture in general.
I just remember him being huge when we were like kids, like being 5 or 6, and just being like Michael Jordan. I can name one basketball player when I was 5. It was Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would see him all the time on stuff living in the UK, and basketball is not super popular in England.
Right.
So like it would be rare to know more than like maybe 4 or 5 basketball players if you live in the UK at the time.
I mean, we're not mentioning the elephant in the room. Friggin' Space Jam, guys. That's how we all know him. That's how
it's a big part of
came
it.
to love him.
And like I think that and like the McDonald's tie-ins to Space Jam and all the Happy Meals and stuff it's like punched into my childhood. Michael Jordan.
God, you just said McDonald's, and now I really want McDonald's.
Dude, so all I want is 45 chicken nuggets and like 9 sweet and sour sauces. Like,
that's it. Spot.
Like I just want to binge eat all of it.
I'm happy to tell you, you can make that happen.
I know, but like they're like McDonald's has got a complaint against them about like making unsafe working practices.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
There was something on Reddit the other day where they're like, "Hey, they're not wearing masks or something." I don't know.
Well,
a bummer.
I'm still gonna order from them.
That on Monday, I forget. Did I mention that restaurant that's putting mannequins at their tables?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
To make it seem like more full.
To make people feel more comfortable. I don't think I mentioned this part of it when I mentioned that story on Monday, that they're dressing all the mannequins in fancy 1940s attire.
What?
How is that going to make people feel better?
It's like I don't know.
Feels like I'm walking onto like an atomic test, like where they have like those little neighborhoods built of people and shit. Like, oh, you're gonna nuke me.
High-speed film cameras were ready to watch them get blown away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Inn at Little Washington in Virginia, which is actually a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
So should we take a road trip separately and go check it out?
God, have you ever eaten at a 3 Michelin star restaurant?
I may have.
I've had a meal at a 1 star, but that's as fancy as I've ever got.
How was it?
One of the best meals of my life. Incredible.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, probably the most expensive ever. It was in Italy.
It's weird that the tire people invented that system.
It's to get you to take a road trip.
I get it, but like it's been decontextualized now so far that it's like, wait, this is the tire people? Like this is such a nice fucking place. It's based on the tire company?
Yeah,
I deliberately stayed in a cheaper hotel because I knew I was going to have the meal.
Did you have to have like reservations a year in advance or something?
Usually yes, but it was in like a small town in Italy where my family is from, so like my name carries some weight there, like the family name. So they like made, because it's this whole thing. It's a family. It was a family entrance to the restaurant.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
wow.
I went to
Free.
one. I went to one several.
The name's not free though.
Several years ago for my 5th anniversary. It was in Chicago. I had to look it up to verify that it was indeed, and it was 3. It's very intimidating. It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Like when a place gets a Michelin star, how do they get 3 of them?
I think there's 3 different. If they get a star, it's like most restaurants don't get a star. Then you can get either, if you do get 1, or you can get 2, or you can get 3. It's like the 1 is the lowest, and then 3 is the highest.
But even a place having 1 is impressive.
Right, yeah. Because they're not common at all.
Wow, okay. And to have 3, damn.
There's just a lot of like interesting, well, the one I went to is like interesting procedure where it like lets you know that you're in a a place that you wouldn't eat at like more than once a year or something. Like the way they did the wine, and they would like roll a bit of wine around in the glass and like heat the neck of it on a candle and all this stuff. And I was like, I am not fancy enough to be benefiting from any of this extra stuff.
When I went to the one that I went to, they had a jacket and tie requirement, and I didn't own a jacket or tie, so I had to go to I think I went to like Marshall's and bought like the cheapest jacket and tie I could.
When there's a restaurant that has a jacket and tie policy, what's the policy for women?
It's an attire policy. I think it's like dinner attire, or like an evening dress attire.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like, is it like you have to be wearing a skirt or a dress of some sort, or like could you still be wearing pants, but could they be nice pants?
Probably not jeans.
Probably not. Yeah, I imagine like no open toe shoe or jeans or stuff like that. Cargo pants.
Well, also is
there are 137 3 Michelin star restaurants in the world.
Wow.
In the United States or world?
In the world.
Wow.
So which country has the most?
I'm gonna guess the UAE.
Ooh, good
guess. Where the Burj Khalifa is. I'm trying to.
I would guess somewhere in the UK.
They don't do it in every country. Is the other thing to remember. But there is a tie for first place. The top 2 countries are Japan and France.
Wow.
That tracks.
Yeah. France is going to be my second guess.
Yeah, each of them has 29.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I can't wait till we're able to travel again and things are a bit safer, and I could go to France and eat at all 29 3-star Michelin restaurants.
I can't imagine how expensive that would be. Oh.
How many people do you think have tried to pitch that show? Just like, it's just me and my friends, and we're traveling around the world to all the Michelin star restaurants as fast as we can.
Yeah, and you also have to book us in 5-star hotels at the same time.
I wonder how much that would cost to eat at all 29 French Michelin star restaurants.
Oh,
or 3 Michelin star restaurants.
Thousands upon thousands.
Maybe
it's right?
6 figures, probably.
It most likely is, yeah.
No, real. How much are we talking for one meal a person?
No, so it wouldn't be 6 figures.
Let's say 29 meals. So let's say 29 meals. Let's say it's $300 a person.
And then you got to take into account that you could have some wine that would easily.
Yeah. All right, let's even say $500. $500 a person.
So like 15 grand.
See, that's not ridiculous. 6 figures.
No, it's true.
For 29, like for a month's worth of dinners, that's so.
It's such a waste of money. It's such a waste of money because it doesn't do anything that a normal meal wouldn't do. You eat it and shit it out like 12 hours later.
You could eat a Big Mac and then wipe your ass with $400. How about that?
You could, let's say we do a show. It's called 3 stars. So you stay at 3-star hotels, but you go to 3-star Michelin restaurants. So you're saving money on the hotel portion of it and spending more money on the food. It's genius.
Perfect.
This is a pretty low budget for a show, 15 grand.
Yeah, but who wants to watch that? Who wants to watch someone having a really good time when nothing bad happens?
Nothing bad happens ever. Everyone after quarantine.
Think of every cooking show. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. You're just watching fucking Guy Fieri go to town.
Yeah, well, sure. Like it would make sense if it was Gordon Ramsay doing all that. If it was us doing it, no one wants to watch us have a really good time.
Yeah, it would just be
29 meals.
That's good.
Yeah. They didn't have a cheeseburger on the menu, so I had to order the pate. That's
make it happen. We're gonna 2021.
I feel like the appeal of Guy Fieri is he could always maybe have a heart attack. Like you're always watching it with like the suspension of disbelief in the back of your mind, like, oh, this might be the one. Like those Diablo nachos might kill him. Like,
yeah. Every time the credits roll, you're like, oh, you got thrown on.
Maybe next week, Guy.
Watching Guy Fieri eat is oddly entertaining and satisfying, and I don't know if it's like he's just such a good food actor that like he makes everything look like literally the best food you've ever had in your life. We're just like, oh, that's great, and the sauce and the way they got this and blah 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 blah. And just like, I want to eat what you're eating.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like the food that he shows is relatable. Like you can imagine it. You think about like, oh, well, I've had this and I've had that, and I can imagine what that's like. And it's just about conveying that.
Well, I offer to convey that so well at every 3-star Michelin restaurant you guys send me to. I will absolutely tell you exactly what it's like.
What if we send you to 30 restaurants? One of them isn't a 3 Michelin star, and you have to determine which one.
Sure. Absolutely. I will 100%
if you do not guess correctly, you have to pick up the tab.
Perfect.
If you're eating at one and you're like, this one's good, but it's not as good as the other 9 3 Michelin stars, I'm going to guess that this one is faking it. Then you have to pay for all of the meals.
Well, would it be that it's not a 3-star Michelin restaurant, but it could be a 2-star or a 1-star?
You won't know.
I mean, I've been to some really nice restaurants that don't have Michelin stars.
Like, I'm at TGI Fridays. I wonder if this could be it.
All right. Well, we're almost at time here. We'll have a couple more minutes before we have to wrap up. I've been looking on a big DIY kick here lately. Drew, I sent you that cyber deck thing a couple days ago.
I loved it. Yeah.
But I saw
switches and buttons.
I saw a DIY that someone posted where they made and they posted instructions how you could do this yourself. They made a rotary dial cell phone. So if you wanted a cell phone that was like not a smartphone at all, no screen, no nothing, it's just like a rotary dial with an antenna on it. You can't text, can't do anything. All you can do is make and receive phone calls on it, which I think it's a super cool idea. Obviously not very practical day to day, but still cool nonetheless. I'm gonna send you guys a photo of it.
Please do, yeah. You say DIY and my brain instantly goes to Animal Crossing. I'm
me too.
taken over.
I select you guys an image of what it looks like.
Let's check this bad boy out. As it loads.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
I'm about that. Will it fit in my pocket?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, 100%.
Rotary cell phone. That's pretty neat.
You just have enough, like, whoever's number you can remember, and that's it.
Maybe you could get like you could print out like a little label on the back with your favorites.
Can you text on it?
No.
Oh.
There it is.
Then what's the point?
What's the SB Dalab buttons?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's
Maybe you can text, but only with those letters.
SBDNM.
Do you want 40 chicken nuggets? Da.
Yeah, that'd be a lot more simple. If I could just text people yes or no answers to things, that would make my life so much easier.
You should institute a rule. You're only answering via text yes or no questions from now on.
Oh, perfect.
That would just save everybody so much time.
What do you want? What do you want for dinner tonight? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do want dinner.
Before we end, I invented a new thing along the same lines as the cold mailbox and other ingenious things.
Oh, great.
Bags with delivery handles.
Oh.
Temporary
So like
handles?
when someone delivers your shit, there's a handle for them and a different set of handles for you, so you don't have to touch where their grubby mitts were in a pandemic.
What if their handles are reusable and they're like claws that grab onto the bag and then they put the bag
take
down
them with them?
Right, they detach it and they take it with them and they put it on the next one.
Oh, that's smart. I like that
as well.
That's honestly, I was prepared for the worst, as I usually am when Gavin comes to the table with an idea. But this is actually a good one.
Why? Why are you prepared for the worst?
What did you recommend last week? It wasn't the cold mailbox. It was something else. It was like another.
Oh, it was the sanitizing doorbell.
The self-cleaning doorbell. Yep, it was a good one. Nothing wrong with that.
I've been thinking a lot about new products. That's why I tweeted the other day about a coat rack for masks, like a little mask management system you could keep by your door. It's like, what kinds of like new niche products will you see pop up because of all of this?
I saw Freddie Wong retweet that.
Yeah,
that's really funny. I don't know, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of really long-lasting changes that happen from this whole situation. Like new fashion is going to come in, new ways of doing just everyday things. I think like the whole shopping for stuff online, like groceries and getting food delivered and stuff, then that whole process is going to change for a lot of people, like kind of permanently. Like I've been doing Instacart for years at this point, but I feel like a lot of people are getting into that whole like getting your groceries ordered online and delivered. Like my parents are doing that now too, and they've never done it before. So it's interesting to see people who've never dabbled in that kind of thing try it out now for the first time. And I feel like a lot of people aren't going to go back.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out for sure, in the next few months.
I
wouldn't be surprised if there are shops or like supermarkets where you have to be a shopper to go in.
Oh, like a club?
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
like you have to be, you have to be like employed as a shopper. You can't just stroll in as a public member.
Like I'm sure that's totally viable. Another thing that I was going to bring up too is I got this email from Uber yesterday. I don't know if you guys got it too, but they're putting in certain policies in place. Like every rider and driver has to be wearing a mask, and there's actually a face cover check. So the driver has to essentially take a photo with the app with their face cover on, and you'll get a notification on your phone if you're the rider that this person has passed that verification. And I'm like, wow, that's like new technology being implemented into things too. Like, wow, that's insane.
Interesting. Cool. All right, well, that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys again next week. Hope you had a good holiday.
Bye.
Bye.